Hello, JP here, and today I'm going to be talking about items, gameplay, controls, and other things about my custom video game, Shelly World. I'll first talk about how the gameplay of the game works, and Shelly's HP and other things like that. Here's a drawing of the first level in Shelly World that I'll be using as an example to show how the gameplay works. In the top left, we got an icon of the character you're currently being and the name. Then we got the life bar that will show how much HP Shelly currently has, and then your orb count, which will show how much orbs you've collected so far in the level. The gameplay is very simple, similar to games like Mario and Kirby. You can jump on or attack to defeat enemies, and enemies will do a certain amount of damage to you, lowering Shelly's HP. If you get down to 0 HP, Shelly dies, and you'll go back to a beginning level or a previous checkpoint. Let's move on to common items found throughout the game. First, we'll start with the orb. These are the common currency of the land. They can be found all throughout levels. Collecting 100 of them will give Shelly a 1-up, and these can be used at shops in Shelly Town. These are basically equivalent to coins in Mario or stars in Kirby. Next are shell shards. These are shards of shell gems that contain a little power. A few can be found in each level, and once all in a world are collected, a special level is unlocked. These are common collectibles that somewhere between 3 to 5 will be hidden each level, giving you something to search for while playing through the game. Finally, the shell gem. These are found at the end of each level. When Sheldon or friends touch one, the level ends. They contain a small power similar to the power of the legendary Shellstone, which I'll talk about in a future video. Here are character switch orbs, which is how the player is able to play as Shelly's friends. Every level is begun as Shelly, but throughout the level the player may come across character switch orbs. Upon touching these, the player will become the character the orb corresponds to, allowing one of Shelly's friends to have a chance at playing through the level. When reaching certain points in a level, or the end of the level, the player is switched back to Shelly. As you probably guessed already, these are basically power-ups, but instead of the character, Shelly, powering up and gaining some new ability, instead he switches out to one of his friends, who each has a unique moveset to help overcome enemies and obstacles. Now I'll be talking about the controls. I'll be using a Nintendo Switch controller as an example, because I only play Nintendo games and this is the most recent console. The L stick is used to move. B or A can be used to jump. Y or X can be used to attack. R or ZR is used for special attack. L or ZL is used to crouch when on ground and fist pound when in the air. And plus will pause the game. Now I'll be going over each character's moveset. Each character has an attack using Y or X, a pound using L or ZL, and a special attack using R or ZR. We'll start with Shelly. Slash. Shelly slashes out with his claws, dealing damage to enemies within a close radius. Holding the Y or X button longer will charge this move, upon release dealing increased damage. Fist pound. This move works only if Shelly is in midair. Shelly flips, then slams his fist into the ground, dealing damage to enemies beneath him and around him in a small radius. Roll. Shelly rolls in the direction he's facing, dealing damage to enemies he hits. Repeatedly pressing R or ZR will make Shelly continue rolling. Now let's look at Leafly's moves. Leaf Shot. Leafly shoots razor-sharp leaves that hone in on enemies within a wide radius, making this a good long-range attack. Holding Y or X will charge the move, making Leafly launch a large blast of wind and leaves, dealing tons of damage. Hurricane Pound. This move works only if Leafly is in midair. Leafly flips, then slams his fist into the ground, creating a gust of wind and leaves that deal damage to enemies within a wide radius of him. Twister Glide. Holding R or ZR will allow Leafly to glide around with a small twister around him that deals damage to enemies it touches. Leafly can glide over pits, spikes, lava, etc., but the twister will give out after a little bit. An exception in certain levels, he can glide along strong gusts of wind that carry him across the level, and the move will not give out until he leaves the wind. Here's Speedy's moves. Rapid Punch. Speedy punches dealing damage to enemies in front of him. Repeatedly pressing Y or X will make Speedy perform a series of fast punches. Charging the attack by holding the button will allow Speedy to attack with a fast, powerful punch while dashing forward. Speed Pound. This attack only works if Speedy is in midair. Speedy flips, then slams his fist into the ground. This works the same as Shelly's Fist Pound, but is performed quicker and deals more damage. Super Speed. Holding R or ZR and moving the L stick at the same time allows Speed to run at super speed. This will give him the ability to run on water, up waterfalls, steep slopes and some walls, over small pits, and even on clouds. If Speedy is damaged while in super speed, his speed will be decreased. Flame's attacks. Fireball. Flame shoots a ball of fire. It flies straight ahead of Flame and will go a long distance. Enemies hit by this will be dealt damage and burned for a bit, dealing a small amount more damage for a few seconds. When charged by holding the button, he will blast a large barrage of fire. This attack can also light torches to light dark places. Fiery Pound. This attack only works if Flame is in midair. Flame flips, then slams his fist into the ground, creating a circle of fire, damaging enemies within a set radius. Flame Rocket. Holding R or ZR will blast Flame in the direction he's facing, allowing him to fly over pits and damage any enemies he hits. There's no limit to how long he can fly, but he will only go straight in the direction he's facing, and will stop if he hits an object. While flying, Flame may hold A or B to fly straight up. Letting go will return him to flying straight. Frost's moves. Ice Blast. Frost shoots a blast of ice that will deal damage to and freeze any enemies it touches. Damaging enemies with this attack or another while they're frozen will deal double damage. Charging this move will create a large blizzard-like blast that can freeze and damage many enemies at once. Icicle Pound. This attack only works if Frost is in midair. Frost flips then slams her fist into the ground, making icicles fall down with her, and creating a circular blast of ice, damaging any enemies nearby and possibly freezing them. This will also freeze any area of water if it touches any. Ice Skate. Holding R or ZR while moving the L stick will make Frost skate around, freezing the ground beneath her. This allows her to skate across water and even lava. Enemies that touch her ice will become frozen. Here are Electro's attacks. Electric Beam. Electro shoots a beam of electricity, dealing damage to enemies hit by it. When charged by holding Y or X, this becomes powerful, firing a large blast and causing enemies hit by it to take a lot of damage and get struck by multiple bolts of lightning. Thunder Pound. This move only works if Electro is in midair. Electro flips and slams his fist into the ground, creating a ring of electricity and bolts of lightning that deal damage to enemies. Electrical Shield. Holding R or ZR will charge up power. Upon release, an electric shield will form around Electro. The longer R or ZR are held to charge this move will determine how long the shield lasts. This will protect him from most attacks and obstacles, and deal damage to enemies that touch the shield. That's all for this video. In my next Shelly World video, whenever I make that, we'll focus on the intro to the game, and the plot and such. So, see you then. Please like and subscribe.